you're using Project Space to host your work, it's a little bit different to Visual Studio Code. One of the first things that you'll need to do is create the folder. So you can use Create. In this case, I'm going to call it L1, Unofficial Holidays, and I can go ahead and create that folder. I can then click on the folder, and if you don't already have a file, what you would do is you go Create, and let's just pretend you need to create the index file from scratch. You'd go index.php, and it will create it. And you can then go inside and put your code in. If you've got the code already in Visual Studio, one option is to select everything, copy it, paste it into index.php, and push Ctrl S or use the Save button. We can then close that tab, and for the CSS, you can create a CSS file in a similar way where you'd put in the name and choose CSS. In this case, as I already have a CSS file, I'm going to use the Upload option, and I can simply browse, grab the CSS file, and upload it. To see the file, I simply push View, and I can then see what my site looks like. One of the really nice things about Project Space is that at the top right-hand side on my index page, I can validate the CSS, and it tells us that we don't have any errors, which is great. I can also easily validate the HTML. And once again, I don't have any errors or warnings. A little bit later on, we're going to create a database that connects to the website. If you don't already see this Create Database option, please click the Database button on Project Space, and we can then type in a name for our database and go ahead and create it. What this will do is, in addition to making the database in PHPMyAdmin, when I go to the parent folder, it also makes the connection files that we'll be using a little bit later on when we connect our website to our database. There's some other really useful features that you should know about in Project Space. If you need to rename something, you can use the Manage link to rename. You can also delete files. You can move files. And if you need to make a copy of a file, you can use the Copy As, which is a little bit like Save As in Visual Studio Code, and it will allow you to make a file that has the same content with the new name. You can also copy it to another project and rename it, which makes recycling code very easy.